Good afternoon, my fellow Canadians. In this video, I would like to say that I think that I may have misread Peter Mackay. Many of you might remember, or if you watched Rebel News, how Scheer treated David Menzies on a bus tour as he was leaving, that he had him hypothetically arrested or at least forcibly removed from the premises for just asking interview questions. So people that were there, that I was informed on YouTube and so on, claimed that David Menzies was just trying to raise confrontational questions and so on, and was hyper aggressive. So I just saw this on the Rebel News a moment ago. Here is Peter Mackay at the Brule Center talking about, well, I'll just let him take it away and then I'll make my comments after. Thank you for your attention.
Accountable, and they will feel that the justice system is there to work for them, to protect them, and keep people from hurting them. Ladies and gentlemen, as a conservative, as a Canadian, as somebody who cares as you do, let's work together. Let's look for positive contributions through this competition. Let's look for ways in which we can have thoughtful and really principled discussions without vilifying those who we might disagree with. And I promise you this.
So, David, there's no questions. I'm just going to see if I can ask you one. There's no questions. You guys are preventing me from interviewing. I just want to ask one question, not even an interview. There's no media. It's a question on freedom of speech. We got a photo. There's no question. So under Peter Mackay, it'll be the same as Andrew Scheer, that the Rebel is not allowed to be here. Here, aren't you? Excuse me.
Here, but I'm going to ask a question. Yes. Hi, Mr. Mackay. How you doing? Just want to ask you, sir. What do you feel about Ezra Levant being interrogated by the elections commissioner?
Anybody being interrogated, including right now. So,
but this is a very important freedom of speech issue, Mr. Mackay. I don't even know why it hasn't been raised in the House by your Conservative colleagues. Do you have a comment on that?
well, you should talk to those Conservative colleagues. I'm not in the House of Commons, so I don't have an opportunity to raise it.
What is your opinion of the elections commissioner going after Ezra Levant simply for writing a book during an election campaign about a prime minister?
Well, I don't have any of the evidence. I don't have any of the information other than what I've read. So we'll see.
You haven't heard about this?
I have heard about it just briefly, but I don't have any of the facts.
Thank you.
Okay, so naturally you would answer, okay, he's avoiding the questions because he doesn't have the facts. Okay, that's a very convenient pretense to, I don't want to answer your questions. The thing I hated about Scheer is that Scheer stood for nothing. Scheer doesn't have any real plan to execute anything as far as I'm concerned. And many of these people that came out in favor of him sort of felt let down. And that's how I feel at this moment. See, I thought that Mackay would be different because he was trying to, at least in some of the interviews I saw, he was trying to point out some problems. But I think that it's now maybe a pre-prepared speech that he did so that he could gain more popularity, or maybe he just hated Trudeau, but a pre-prepared speech. I don't understand why Mackay couldn't say something like, yeah, what happened to Ezra Levant was wrong. They shouldn't be doing that. To those of you who don't know the interrogation with Ezra Levant that he recorded, to his credit, that was very important that he recorded it, otherwise nobody would believe him. We take a page from the great Jody Wilson-Raybould, that if you suspect that you're going to be in a position where they're trying to entrap you, let's say, or that you predict that there'll be a situation that they'll try to prevent any evidence whatsoever that, or they'll request evidence, but they'll put a great deal of restrictions on you collecting evidence. Collect the evidence anyways. By hook or by crook, collect the evidence. If Jody had not recorded that phone call, she would not have the necessary evidence to present to Parliament or to the media or to the committees that interviewed her later to prove her point, to prove her integrity as Attorney General. So, again, I'm extremely disappointed with Mackay, that Mackay... Let me get this out and clear. The Conservative Party has nothing to fear from the Rebel News. They are naturally allies to the Conservative Party, to the PPC, and so on, because they really hate Trudeau. You couldn't ask for a media outlet that's more favorable. If I was Mackay, I'd apologize right away for this statement, and then I would give an interview with Menzies or with Ezra Levant right away. It's a joke. Are you just going to continue ignoring internet platforms, or what? It's just, I'm reading some of the comments. This is very amusing to me, and I feel deeply disappointed with Mackay's response. But here you can look. Mackay is more of the same. Mackay is... How could he answer Peter How is it asking a question by a reporter in interrogation? Exactly my point. He's not being interrogated, and yet he's behaving as though he is. What a joke. If you can't handle the pressure from a small news outlet, you can't handle the pressure whatsoever. The problem with Scheer is he allowed the media to control the narrative rather than set the record straight. He always made things too vague. He never answered back. He never showed he have any power, any authority. He just speak very softly and vague and all this. Nobody knows what Scheer stood for. And if Peter Mackay is going to behave the same way, then it might as well be a done deal and Trudeau will be elected again. We need somebody with balls in power. Somebody who's and I mean that not in any way except that somebody that needs balls, courage, belief in what they're talking about. That's what we need. Real leadership. How can you behave as though we're in a time you can still pretend to be neutral? You cannot be neutral in this time. There is an extreme radical leftism that need to be addressed. You can't be center or left of right a little bit, alt-right, whatever you want to call it. No. Stand for conservatism and stand for what's right. I'm so tired of seeing this nonsense. Like, now I see a little bit behind the scenes Mackay give a glimpse of a little bit behind the mask, the facade. And I'm really mad about it. I thought maybe he's different. Maybe after all these years, he's wised up. He's seen how Scheer make the mistakes. And I have no doubt that he's better than Scheer. Anybody is better than Scheer. I tell you that. Scheer is a joke. I'm happy he's gone. And, Scheer actually made it difficult to back the Conservatives. If you ask me, Maxime was the clear leader. The problem was that it's not even a problem. I agree with him 100% what he did with the PPC. I admire him. It took courage. But again, what we need is leadership. And Mackay, I think Mackay it's a facade. I think so now. I mean, maybe he'll apologize to Rebel later, but you couldn't stop pretending like the Rebel is an enemy of the Conservative Party. For God's sake, who knows how many people are going to see this now? And all Trudeau has to do is come back to certain points like this, like where Mackay behaved hypocritically. But that aside, I may have been wrong about Mackay. I don't know. Time will tell. But, you know, I did a couple of videos on him that, you know, I thought, you know, maybe he could be a good leader. But I'm beginning to rethink my perspective now, because it's something's not right here. I don't want him to follow the same suit as Andrew Scheer. I hope he doesn't, you know. Anyways, I thank you for your time and attention. I want to keep this video nice and short. Have a good day. Bye-bye.